Kyle back here. What do you tell the fans? I mean, you're building your program in Nebraska. What do you say to your fans that are seeing progress each year, and as it gets better, may not have all the wins all the time, but you're making progress to build a program?
Yeah, you know what? I've said since we put this group together, it's a really fun team to coach. They compete, as you saw tonight. Obviously, we were very shorthanded with a couple of our key guys out, especially on the glass. You have your two best perimeter rebounders out of the lineup, but this game had nothing to do with effort, the final result. And our guys kept competing. What did us in was the starts to both halves, and give Purdue credit for that. They come out in this building. It's an incredible atmosphere, great place to play, but our guys never backed down, and they kept competing and coming back. And I'm proud of them for that. And that's been, the MO of this team. They've really bought into a defensive identity. We had to give something. You can't take everything away from this team. And, we outscored a very physical, lengthy, big across the board. I mean, it's not just Edey. It's all their players. They have great size and length. And, we ended up outscoring them in the paint. They got hot, and unfortunately we couldn't slow Lawyer down. He's a hell of a player. And but again, our guys continue to go out there every time they step on the floor and battle, and that's all we can ask of them.
As I'm going to ask, I mean, do you feel like in the two games you played Purdue that your defense did a good job on Edey? It was just, as you mentioned, Lawyer got hot in both games to get him over the hump.
Yeah, that first one obviously could have gone either way. We had plenty of opportunities on that last possession. I think we got 4 looks at it, and then had a tough break go against us, on that last possession at the end of the game. But yeah, our guys have gone out there and executed exactly the game plan that we put in. One thing we did, we helped off the strong side, the single side, twice, and Lawyer made us pay for it on both those. But he had escaped dribble threes, he hit off the bounce, second contested mid-range shots, and those are the ones that you're willing to give up. You just don't want to give uncontested ones. So I thought our rotations, for the most part, were pretty good. I have to go back and watch, obviously, the film as we do every game, and see if there's some things we can do better. But yeah, we were on point with our rotations. I thought we got a couple nice deflections out there. But again, the starts of both halves, I think it was 20-3 at the free throw line. But again, I thought we played with physicality, but we were just missing, some rebounders there that could have made a difference. And we missed some open looks. We miss a layup early. We miss a couple good wide open shots, and you have to make those if you want to win a game like this on the road.
Fred, this was Painter's 400th career win. Just as a coach yourself, what do you think has made him successful over his career?
Well, he's one of the best in the business, and he does such a phenomenal job recruiting to his system. And he learned from a great one in Gene Katie, and he's he has these guys play with great toughness. Every time they step on the floor, they play together on the road. I mean, it doesn't matter what environment they're in. They play the same and they're consistent. So I think the world of Matt, and happy for him. Not happy that I'm the guy he got 400 against, but he's a hell of a coach.
Hey,
Coach, how challenging is it to take on a team with that many different big men that can all rebound outside of their space?
Yeah, again, it's not just at the 5 spot. I mean, Zach had 7 of them, I think, but the rest of those guys, they crash hard. It's just, again, it's what they do with their guys. They're one of the top. I don't know if they're still the number 1 offensive rebound rate team in the country, but they get a very high percentage of their misses. And when you're missing a couple key guys in that category that can help you on the glass with your guards, you could be in for a long night. But again, it had nothing to do with competing. Our guys did that, and as I told them after the game in the locker room, we talked in our first meeting. If you can walk in the locker room after the game, look each other in the eye, and said you gave everything you had, you can live with the result. And I thought our guys did that.
Hey, Fred, one more. You played with 7'4" Rick Schmitz when you played. Zach 7'4". I mean, what's it like to compare those guys? Obviously different eras, but similarities or differences with those guys?
That's a great question. I hope Edey's not as cheap as Rick was. But no, I'm just kidding. Rick's was a very good friend, and one of the best guys I ever played with. He was so good. That jump hook was lethal. He could step out, knock down a shot. The game's different now. I mean, obviously back then everybody was playing through the post. I think Edey's more physical, certainly a lot more physical than Rick was. Rick's jump hook, I saw him embarrass a lot of people with that jump hook and stepping out, knocking down that little 15-foot jump shot. But Rick, I think if you looked at him at the same stage of their careers, Zach's just so much bigger than Rick was. Zach's body, reminds me of Yao. He's just, he's got those big legs, thick legs, wide shoulders, hips. And he's got great stamina for somebody of that size. But both great players. Again, Rick was as good as anybody I played with at that position, and Edie's the most dominant player in our game right now.
Fred, when you look at Purdue, you get to a point this season where a lot of teams start shrinking their bench, and I think that Matt's continued to play 9 or 10 players. Is this really that complete, that deep of a team that's, you really have to, when you scout them, scout 10, 11 guys?
Yeah, it's one of the harder scouts, and it's not only that, but it's all the different actions that they run, and they execute it so well with so much pace. And he's got so many different types of players and different dynamics. He brings in a group off the bench. Smith, I don't think gets nearly enough credit. He's in my opinion, as good as any freshman in the country with what he does, picking up full court and his toughness and his ability to make shots and get to the rim and just how he runs the team. And those their 3s and 4s, pick any of them. They all go out there and they have a little bit different skill sets, but all have great toughness and physicality, and they can all make shots.
I apologize if I missed this, but how come you didn't have Sam tonight? And do you know when you might get Juwan back?
We're Juwan right now. He's going to be out for a while. We don't know exactly how long. We hope to get him back before too long. But the big thing with him, with his shoulder right now, he's got a lot of swelling and pain in there. So the short-term goal with him is to get that swelling out, to get the pain management, get that under control. As far as Sam, he's got a little bit of a hip flexor strain. He's much better than he was a couple days ago, and yesterday he had trouble running. He got out, he ran. Today, just had a little bit of pain. We took a cautious approach with him. We've got a nice little break. We're going to have to take the next 2 days off. We haven't taken our day off this week, and next week with tight games, we have to take Sunday. So our guys will get the weekend, hopefully to get right, get healthy, and at least get Sam back on the floor on Wednesday.
How long have you known the Lawyer family, and when did you first kind of see Fletch as a little kid playing?
Yeah, well, I've known John just from our NBA connections, and my son Jack played with Foster at Michigan State, so we spent a lot of time together at games, and my wife and and Foster and Fletcher's mother, spent a lot of time together watching games, and when I had some extra time after in Chicago, I was able to spend a lot of time with that team. So it was great to get to know those guys. I mean, John is phenomenal, very well respected NBA personality, and then just to see Fletcher grow, and I don't think anybody knew he'd have this type of impact on this team. But he's so versatile and can make shots. But his ability to take off the bounce and relocate and shoot threes and in mid range, he's got a hell of a future in front of him.